I do not expect you to believe me. Even now, as I recount these events, I am uncertain if what I experienced was a delusion of a stressed mind or something far darker, a crack in the veil of reality itself. It began one late November night when the office was empty, save for me. The shadow that followed me, a night in the haunted office. The rhythmic ticking of a clock echoes through the eerie silence. It's late, past midnight. The low hum of fluorescent lights fills the air, almost suffocating in its monotony. Aine, 30s, diligent but weary, sits alone at her desk, the pale glow of her monitor casting sharp shadows across her face. Her fingers move frantically across the keyboard, but her posture betrays a subtle tension. Anna pauses, her fingers hovering above the keyboard. She massages her temples, glancing toward the dark corridor leading to the break room. The stillness of the office feels oppressive, as though the walls themselves are conspiring to keep her there. And then, faintly, a sound. A whisper? No, perhaps just the air conditioning kicking on. It's nothing. Just stress, Anna tried to say to herself. Her phone vibrates, snapping her from her thoughts. She checks the screen. A message from Julia, a co-worker known for her strange sense of humor. The text from Julia says, "Don't stay too late. Weird things happen after midnight." Anna smirks, but her grip on the phone tightens. She remembers Julia's stories, absurd tales of the building's history, of strange figures seen in the halls after hours. At the time, Anna had laughed them off. But now, alone in the vast, silent office, they seem harder to dismiss. The building had its secrets. That much was undeniable. Built in 1893 as a textile factory, it had seen its share of tragedy. Fires, accidents, even whispers of disappearances. When it was converted into an office space in the late 1980s, some said the past clung to it like a shadow. Anna walks cautiously into the break room, filling her mug with stale coffee from the pot. The ancient machine sputters and groans, the sound unnervingly loud in the silence. She takes a sip and grimaces at the bitter taste. As she turns to leave, her eyes catch something out of place, a chair in the conference room beyond the glass partition. It's pulled back, slightly askew. Anna frowns. She's certain it wasn't like that before. At first it was small things, a chair out of place, a sound too faint to name, easy to rationalize. And yet an unease began to grow in me, like a splinter lodged too deep to remove. She steps closer, her reflection wavering in the glass. For a moment she thinks she sees movement, a shadow, tall and broad, just behind her. She spins around. Nothing. Just the faint hum of the lights. Anna laughing nervously. She says to herself, "Get a grip, Anna." But the image lingers in her mind, the shape of the shadow impossibly wrong. The shoulders too high, the posture too rigid, as if it belonged to something that had forgotten how to stand like a person. Anna returns to her desk, trying to shake off the unease. But her monitor is off, the screen blank. Strange, she doesn't remember turning it off. She moves the mouse, the screen flickers to life. Instead of her open document, there's an unsent email on the screen. In the email body's a message, "Leave now." Anna's breath catches. She deletes the draft, her fingers trembling. A prank? A system glitch? She looks around, but the office is empty. Rows of darkened desks stretching into the shadows. The sudden whir of the printer startles her. She turns to see it spitting out a single sheet of paper. Slowly she approaches, dread pooling in her stomach. The paper is cold to the touch. A crude drawing of a shadowy figure, eerily similar to the one she thought she saw in the glass. Beneath it, scrawled in jagged letters, "You shouldn't have stayed." Anna grabs her coat and bag. Her only thought now is to leave. Her heels click against the linoleum as she hurries toward the elevator. The hum of the light seems louder, almost angry, chasing her down the hall. She presses the elevator button repeatedly, her breathing shallow. The doors slide open, empty. Relieved, she steps inside, but as the doors begin to close, she hears it. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming from the far end of the hall. She doesn't turn to look. The elevator lurches downward. The lights flicker. Anna clutches the railing, her heart hammering. The elevator jerks to a halt between floors, plunging her into darkness. There is a specific kind of terror that comes from isolation. The mind begins to betray you, offering images and sounds that cannot be real. But what if they are? A whisper breaks the silence, soft and indistinct at first, then unmistakably clear. You were warned. Anna's phone flashlight pierces the darkness. The reflective doors show her pale, terrified face, and the silhouette of something standing just behind her. The elevator dings, and the doors open to the empty lobby. Anna stumbles out, gasping for air. She glances back, but the elevator doors close with a quiet finality, the shadow inside vanishing with them. Her phone vibrates again, another message from Julia. I told you not to stay late. Anna stares at the timestamp. The message was sent 2 hours ago. She checks the time on her phone, 3 a.m. The clock doesn't change, the screen frozen. The phone flickers, the message changes before her eyes. The new message she receives says, "You're next." The phone slips from her hand. She runs into the foggy night, the building looming behind her like a silent predator. Have you ever felt like you weren't alone at work? Share your story if you dare.